To begin our workshop session of the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park. I am Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. It is 6:04 p.m. and the one item on our workshop agenda this evening is a presentation on employee benefits insurance broker services, to include workers' compensation, by NFP Corporate Services Vice President Tammy Starkey. I believe Dr. Baker is going to be leading this conversation. Is that correct?
You are correct, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before I present, we have Ms. Tammy Starkey with NFP Insurance Brokerage and Consulting Firm. She'll be presenting a presentation on healthcare benefits as well as our compensation program. Ms. Starkey, are you available?
I'm here.
All right. And we'll be happy to entertain any questions that the Mayor and Council may have afterwards.
Okay. Well, thank you for having us this evening. We look forward to providing you with the information regarding the services that NFP provides for our clients around employee benefits and workers' compensation consulting. So we'll go to the first slide here. And with the NFP overview on the next slide, you'll see that NFP is an industry leader in benefits, property and casualty, workers' compensation, and retirement service. So we truly provide a total risk management solution for our clients. So our national presence provides our clients with best-in-class resources, with leverage in the marketplace, but also partnering that with our local presence here in Georgia that provides tailored service and expertise for our government entity clients. The next slide, you'll see just an overview of what that public entity expertise looks like, that we have been working with city and county governments in Georgia for over 25 years. And our clients consist of more than 50 public entity clients throughout Georgia. And so what that means is that we are tasked with the unique understanding that public entities face and being able to provide a valuable benefit package, being able to communicate the value of that benefit package so that you're able to attract and retain those employees, but also ensuring that that benefit package meets the needs of your budget. And so with that, we know that providing the information to the mayor and to the council members to make those important decisions regarding that benefit package that is so important to your employees, but it is also very important to your budget. We understand those points that you need to make those very vital decisions. And our participation with city and county government associations provides us with insight on the trends of what's impacting our clients now and into the future. So here you see just an example of a few of the more than 50 public entity clients that we work with throughout Georgia. And next we'll talk about really what do we do? What is our scope of service for our clients in regards to employee benefits consulting? And we do provide a very comprehensive health and welfare brokerage and consulting scope of services. And so first we start by designing the program. So really determining what are the needs of the city in your benefit package and what are the needs of your employees? What is important to them? So is it choice? Is it cost? Is it access to providers? And really setting a strategic plan for those benefits. Once we design that ideal benefit package and target those goals for the package, we have to ensure that we're controlling cost of those very valuable benefits. So starting with first budget projections, ensuring that the plan designs, the package that we're developing fits into our budgetary needs. And so we're setting out budget projections for current and future cost. Also conducting ongoing risk analysis on the plan. So what are our cost drivers? What are our risks on our plan? How can we manage those risks and manage our long-term cost? And then using purchase and procurement programs so that we're focusing on long-term cost stabilization solutions for the entire benefit package. With compliance, we're continuously monitoring regulations, providing regular benefits and HR compliance updates, conducting a thorough review of your current policies and procedures. So that's from everything to the Affordable Care Act, COBRA, HIPAA, FMLA, and especially now important with the CARES Act and how that impacts your benefit programs. And with a well-being program, we're looking to really drive engagement, to develop a comprehensive program that's going to engage in proactive risk management. So enabling the members on your plans to identify their risk factors and providing them with the tools and resources to improve their health and manage those risk factors. And with communications on your benefit program, we're developing a clear message so that employees understand what are their options in their benefit plan, what best suits their needs and the needs of their family, so that they're able to make those choices that are going to benefit them, and they realize the value of the programs that the city provides. And then finally, with the overall plan administration, we're using full service technology and support to really tie it all together. So to provide claims advocacy, open enrollment support, and overall HR and benefits technology to tie into your current processes and systems. So next, we'll look at the first part of that overall plan administration is going to include account management services. So we do provide our clients with a dedicated local service team that's going to include an account manager and a client support specialist. So they will really partner with your human resource department to be an advocate for your employees when they're navigating their employee benefit package. So from the day that they're selecting what benefits they want to enroll in to the day that they utilize that benefit and ensuring that the plan pays correctly. And if they experience any issues, be it with a claims payment, with locating a provider, really acting as their advocate so they're getting the best value out of this benefit package that the city provides. And our Employee Service Center provides a team of experts that provides immediate support to your clients through taking their calls. And so they're going to provide claims resolution, a thorough understanding of benefits, so answering any questions that your employees might have. It could be anything from ordering an ID card to locating an in-network provider or enrolling in their benefits over the phone or online. So if we'll go to the slide with technology, slide 22. I'm sorry, 13. So we provide a full service benefit administration technology as a part of our scope of service. So we use bswift as that benefit administration platform. And we have a dedicated in-house technology team that builds and customizes this online enrollment platform for our clients. It really is a great communication tool, but also an overall administration tool in managing the enrollment process, housing all the coverage, cost, and deduction information, and really provides an intuitive experience for employees to navigate, understand their benefits, and make the appropriate selections. With our benefit technology, we also have full electronic integration with each carrier, vendor, and payroll system. So that means that there's no manual entry from HR or from our team, that as soon as someone enrolls in benefits, that is electronically fed to each of the vendors to update eligibility. And then it will also feed back to payroll to update their deductions for the benefits that they've enrolled in. And on the next slide with benefit education, we really do customize this experience for our clients and for their employees to provide multiple avenues of education of what works best for your employees. And there's no one size fits all. Providing on-site group meetings is an option. We'll provide one-on-one benefit counseling sessions to really answer those very personal questions of what benefit options would be best for the employee and for their family, giving employee-specific guidance, comparing the cost and coverage, and then also providing printed materials, online materials, and video messaging. So again, multiple avenues so that employees understand what their options are, they're able to make the best decisions in their benefits, and they truly understand the value of the benefit package that the city provides them. So in the next section, I'm going to have my team member, Evan Taylor, discuss our workers' compensation services.
Great. Thank you, Tammy. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you, Tammy. So I do want to spend a few minutes talking about our workers' compensation program and the services that we provide there. So in the property and casualty space, workers' compensation is probably one of the few benefits that really applies to every single employee. whereas property insurance may just cover the property. Workers' comp is for every employee. So if they get hurt at work, they get paid for lost wages and they get paid for medical bills because they were hurt at work. And so we see this as an extension of a benefit program for employees at College Park. And so what I want to spend a few minutes talking about is just sort of strategically big picture, what do we do in that space? So we both try and help prevent claims, but we manage claims. And our job is obviously to put together a program that's most competitive from a cost standpoint, but also an administrative standpoint as well. I want to talk about claims management services out of the gate because we wouldn't have workers' compensation if we didn't have claims. And so we have a team of senior claims managers. They all have over 25 years experience individually managing workers' compensation claims. And so this is a trade in and of itself to know all the intricacies, all the state laws and regulations that exist in workers' compensation to be able to mitigate the cost of a workers' compensation claim. This could include negotiating down reserves, arguing with adjusters about overinflation on a reserve on a claim, but then also making sure that the employee is getting the benefit that they deserve. So were they denied the right to get an x-ray, the right to get a certain procedure that they were entitled to based upon what occurred in the substance of the claim. And so our claims managers very tightly manage each individual claim. They do that to make sure the employee is getting what they deserve, but also to take a load off of the organization whose job, everybody wears 20 different hats. It's not that employee's job to understand the intricacies of workers' compensation law. So our claims management team does that. And then they'll also manage our adjusters and carriers as well to make sure that they're doing the job that you're paying them to do and that we're being a proper steward of those resources. So if we can go to the next slide. So we talk a bit about what happens when people get hurt. Hopefully no one gets hurt. And so we have a loss control team and loss control services and resources that we put forward with all of our clients to try and help prevent people from getting hurt and prevent bad things from happening. And so you'll see a list here around surveys and written programs, training programs, policies and procedures. Really within the first 30 to 60 days, our goal is going to be to identify where there's gaps. And these maybe we don't have a formal return to work program, return to work policy in place that directly impacts workers' compensation costs and the outcome of claims. So we can put that into place and then work with the team to actually push that out throughout the entire footprint, throughout the entire organization. It could be toolbox talks. It could be OSHA trainings. It could be all sorts of written policies and procedures to make sure that we're within compliance. But our goal is we want to make safety a part of the equation of what's going through an employee's brain when they're at work every day, whether they're driving a vehicle, whether they're on site dealing with other people, whether they're on top of a ladder doing a job or on the ground doing a job, regardless of the employee and their role and their responsibility. We just want them to have safety as one of the thoughts on their brain when they're doing their job every single day. And we've got a team and a loss control group, and that risk management group, their job is to formulate a plan after an initial survey to come up with the best loss control services that we can put forward. So if we can go to the next slide. So this colorful wheel, to break this down, generally in insurance, people are just trying to get the cheapest cost of insurance. And so that's obviously a part of our job. I'd say that's 25, 30% of our job is every single year. We want to make sure we have the most competitive plan, that there's not a carrier offering a more competitive offer at the same level of service that our current partner is providing. And so every year, we go through conversations with our clients to say, do we want to market the program this year? Let's understand the impacts of doing that. And if so, we've got a list of over 100 carriers that we could go to provide that service. For College Park, not all 100 of those will apply. You guys are a complex organization with complex needs. And so we're going to target carriers that specialize in workers' compensation. Some of these may be carriers you've heard of, like a Travelers or a Hartford, but some may be monoline workers' compensation carriers that are excellent just only in that realm, like a Key Risk or an Accident Fund or a Strategic Comp. And so our job is to market that program, but then also, again, we want to have a claims management team to help your team manage claims and to manage them to resolution and provide those services to the employees, but also risk management resources to prevent claims from happening as well. And so you'll see here that wheel, we're working all year long to impact the renewal, to reduce the cost of risk in general, and to provide that resource to your employees. So we can go to the next slide. This is the last slide. Our whole goal in all of this is we want to reduce the total cost of risk. So we have to purchase workers' compensation insurance. It's mandated by law. Our goal is we want that number to be as low as possible. And we do that by preventing claims from happening, mitigating them, and addressing them very quickly and very competently when they do happen. But then also just making sure that we're also with the best partner at all times, whether that's the carrier partner or a third-party administrator helping to manage and adjudicate those claims. So I'll stop there, Tammy, and either kick it back to you or kick it to members of the College Park team.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. So I think what we've reviewed tonight is really the full scope of services that NFP provides to our clients, specifically our city and county government clients, to manage the risk to the city and also to your employees through the benefits consulting and also the workers' compensation consulting. So that is the end of our presentation.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Baker. Did you have anything to add?
No, we're subject to your questions at this time.
All right. I will open up to council for questions.
Mayor, I have a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Most of my questions were generated off of the material that we have for the general session, but they all revolve around NFP. And some of them I got answers to from Dwight, and many of them I really need to get answers from NFP. I think it may be more productive to ask those questions in this workshop where we have more time than to clog up the general menu with it. Are we agreed on that?
We are agreed on that, sir.
Okay. Well, perhaps it might be useful, Tammy, and I would open it up. I'd say if anyone else had questions, if we went back through your slides, maybe from the start, and I could try to key those questions maybe to the slides that you have there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to facilitate this as painlessly as possible. One of my general questions that came off the package was, I noticed when you gave references of other cities that you work with, they all seem to have, or at least most of them seem to have self-funded programs. And in some of your literature, it appeared like you kind of felt that was a better way to go. Am I mistaken about that? What percentage of your clients are self-funded versus actually insured by some insurance company?
I would say that our city and county government clients, majority are fully insured. So probably about 30% are going to be self-insured. And all of that depends on the size of the client and also the risk factors that exist within their programs. And so that's definitely something that we would want to evaluate for the city of College Park. You all are right at the size where self-insuring could make sense, but we definitely want to do a thorough risk analysis to understand what has the history been on the plan, what are the current high claims, what reinsurance would be needed to cover that, and what the future cost projections would be in a self-insured environment compared to fully insured premiums.
Okay. With regard to outsourcing HR, as I'm captioning it, there are a lot of functions that overlap between you and the HR department. So this is partly a question for Dwight, I guess, as well. What functions in HR don't we need to do anymore? For example, employees don't really need to talk to our HR department, it sounds like. it sounds like they can call into your call center and they can get a dedicated person. And I saw that you had, I think, about 8 persons on your team, as I recall, that would service this area. What I wasn't able to figure out was, and this is a kind of couple questions rolled together, how many people those 8 service people on the end of the phone or the end of the email, how many people are they covering in this region?
So total employees that they're covering is about 13,000. And volume does differ throughout the year because many of our plans are going to renew in the summer, such as the city. Many are going to renew in the fall. And so that enables us to adequately manage the call volume. Our call volume is continuously monitored by our service center manager and also by myself, so that we are meeting our desired service metrics. So around hold time, response time for resolving issues. And so we are able to pull in additional team members at heavier call volume times to make sure that none of those pieces fail.
Can you tell me what, off the top of your head, what those hold times typically are and what the resolution time typically is?
Yeah, so a day like today, there will not be a hold time, but in a high volume such as open enrollment, which typically for us is October, we average less than 1 minute hold time.
That's very impressive. Okay, so from Dwight's standpoint, what does he still have to do in his organization that you're not going to do for us?
So our goal is really to act as an extension of the HR department when it comes to managing the benefit process. So as you mentioned, for employees to contact us if they have any questions on their benefits, if they have any claims issues, need to know what providers they can utilize, absolutely letting us be that first line of defense. Also managing the eligibility. So when someone enrolls in a benefit, they're going to enroll in our online benefit software. And we are going to communicate that to each of the carriers so that their eligibility shows appropriately when they go to utilize those benefits, and also communicating that back to payroll so that there's no manual entry on the payroll side of what deductions that employee should have for their benefits that they've elected. So really, we'll work with HR on making the decisions for what is our strategy around the benefit programs, what benefits to offer, and really taking their feedback from what they've gained from the employees and what's important to the city. So they're designing the program and we're assisting in managing it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Councilman Clay. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to see if Dr. Baker had anything to add to that.
No, I was just going to say that Tammy, she pretty much hit on.
Okay, let me. Then I think it's going to be easier to ask the reverse question. When would an employee go to HR with regard to their benefits? When would they need to?
Is that for me or for Tammy?
Whoever.
Well, I would say the HR would be the first line of defense for any issue that employee would have with their benefit, their coverage.
I'm sorry, you're garbled, Dwight. I don't know why. Can you talk a little closer to the mic, maybe?
A little closer to the mic. All right, is it better?
A little bit.
All right. I apologize for the connection. What I said was NFP will serve as an extension of the HR department. I would hope that an employee would come to HR for us to investigate the issue as it relates to their coverage, their enrollment status, and then we can work very closely with NFP to try to resolve that issue in a timely manner.
So why wouldn't that be a duplication of effort? I would think that NFP could handle the whole thing.
And they could, sir. However, I guess as a courtesy, it would be good to know what the issues are before they try to address it with NFP, just to keep HR in the loop.
Okay, well, one question that's going to come up, and it'll be in the general section, will be the total cost of the program. And the question is, how many people one question is, how many people do we need in human resources? And the more people that are involved as being the first touch, as opposed to NFP being the first touch, the more people you're going to need in HR to provide a timely response. And I'll just leave that as an open question, but that's something that I I think we need to think about. And I've had experience with outsourcing, and all I can say is you always want to be in a position to have enough people. So if you have to bring things back in-house or pick a different outsourcer or whatever, you need some intellectual capability in-house. So that's just an issue. Now, I have some other questions, but does anybody else need to jump in on that topic? Okay.
Jump in here in a minute, but go right.
Go ahead if you got something on that.
I just on your presentation, you said, I think it was on packet page 6, your page 3. You said understanding the unique challenges of public entities that they face, entities face. What are some of those unique challenges, and are they more so to cities with small numbers like College Park versus cities that have larger numbers?
I think the challenges can be common across the board. We see how important it is to offer a valuable benefit package as a part of a recruitment tool for our city and county government clients, and really having employees understand the value of that benefit package, because we also often see that turnover occurs if someone's offered a few dollars more to go to another position at another city or county, and really leveraging the value of the benefit package that the city provides is a huge recruitment and way to retain employees. So I don't think that, that's unique to any city or county based on size. I think having often an aging workforce population is something that can impact your cost on your employee benefits and workers' compensation. So that's where we look at really focusing on managing risk long-term by ensuring that we're identifying risk factors within the population and providing the tools and resources to manage their health. And then, with also keeping in mind that we want to have a very valuable package for our employees, but we also have some budgetary constraints that we need to manage to. And we also need to be able to set an appropriate budget expectation for that your risk management tools. And so with our actuaries, we provide that forecast of risk so that you're able to understand the impact to this fiscal year and to coming fiscal years and what that means for the overall budget to the city.
When you talk about working with the employees, you talk about, are you planning on having workshops with them? I find that a lot of people don't fully understand the insurance and how it works. Do you plan on having individual workshops in College Park or virtual, or how do you plan on going about that?
Absolutely. We provide multiple avenues for that benefit education, because you're right. Most employees don't understand how the benefits work, what their best options would be for them and their family. And so we would provide those meetings, so group sessions where we're providing that communication. We can do that on-site, virtually, a combination. But really what I think helps is having that one-on-one counseling session where employees, if they choose to, can meet with a licensed enrollment counselor to ask specific questions. So it may be a specific medication that they have or a provider that one of their family members needs to see, and really have that counselor help them understand what benefits are going to be best suited for them. So, premium versus coverage wise, they can make the best choice for themselves and their family.
Okay. Again, I have questions on cost projections, but we can get into that later on if you have projections. But
yeah, I think I was going to hold those kinds of questions for the general session, because that's where the cost came into the bid response. But
and that's fine too.
And so as far as cost, we're proposing just a flat consulting fee, where I believe currently your schedule is a commissioned-based fee. which means that premiums, the commission is included in your benefit premiums. So what we would do is come in, and as of your renewal, which is June 1st, we would remove all commissions from your benefit programs, from all your risk management programs, and we would go flat fee. So what that means is that your billed premiums come down, and our flat fee is significantly lower than the current commissions built into your programs.
Well, when you say a flat fee, since we're getting into the fees, when you say a flat fee, you talk about some variation in services in your bid response. And what I wonder is, for example, the number of times that you'll come out to the organization, the touch points, if you will, to meet with the organization and so forth. Is that independent of the fee, or does that factor into the fee? At some point, are we going to get 4 touch points, and if you want more, it costs more? Or is it, well, whatever you need this year, as long as it's not too much?
Yes, so there's no additional cost for frequency of meetings or additional review of different benefits. So it may be we want to look at adding new benefits. There's no increase to fee. So everything we've proposed in our scope is included in that flat fee.
Okay, well, with regard to the services that you provide, you say you work with a whole number of different medical providers, for example. When I reviewed the results of the survey that was conducted on our employees, I think it was about 43% of the people, somewhere in that neighborhood, in the low 40s, responded to the survey. There were a number of negative responses with regard to our current services provider, the medical provider. And there were some good responses, some favorable responses. I'd say I was outweighed by the negative. What I don't know is what happened. What about the other 57% or 56%? Did they not respond to the survey because they're happy with things, et cetera, et cetera? Which leads me to the question. A lot of people in the responses that I saw basically said, we want choice. And for them, it's not choice of a benefits broker. It's not choice of your organization. It's really choice of the medical provider. So one question I have for you is, when you talk about meeting our needs, are you able to deal with multiple medical providers at the same time and say, okay, well, if you want Blue Cross Blue Shield, fine. If you want Kaiser, that's fine. If you want, I don't know, Piedmont Health Services or whatever organizations there are, that's all fine too. How much choice are we going to be able to obtain in that regard economically? I know we could have a zillion different, and if we didn't care about the cost, but how much advantage do you have? Do you have a big enough organization or number of clients, I should say, that you support, that if we want Blue Cross and Kaiser and Piedmont, we can have them all because you do so much business with Kaiser and so much business with Blue Cross that you can cut us a good deal, regardless of whether we do it all with one or not?
So we would definitely conduct a full marketing review. So to look at the plans, the cost, the network, the disruption within that network of all viable carriers for the city. Typically the decision on if a slice of business is what the market would call it, to allow you to offer multiple carriers beside each other, is the choice of the carrier. So we have had cities successfully do that with Blue Cross Blue Shield, with Piedmont as an option, or Kaiser. Typically, they're going to want some assurance of enrollment guarantees, because someone like Blue Cross Blue Shield is not going to want to be selected against, meaning that they're getting the higher risk population, where maybe the lower risk or lower utilizers are going to go on the Kaiser plan. So it's definitely something we can explore and come back with solutions on. But in the end, it's going to be the carriers evaluating their potential risk if they will allow that.
Okay, and that's sort of what I would expect. Because I expect we have some employees listening in tonight, or we'll watch the recording of the event, and we want to do the absolute best that we can for the employees, keeping in mind our financial situation these days, particularly with COVID. And I don't want to create the false impression that, well, everything is great, you can have all your choices that you want, because I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to be limited to very likely one carrier or maybe two at most, but I would be surprised.
And even with one carrier, we can look at multiple plan options. So potentially offering a high deductible HSA qualified plan, as well as a lower deductible copay plan. And then also ensuring that there's a choice of network availability and provider availability. I think that's a big piece of likely what employees and their dependents are looking for, is being able to make a choice in not only the coverage levels, but also the providers that they're able to utilize.
Okay. Councilman Clay, do you have any other questions?
Not right now. Let somebody else take a turn.
Councilman Gay, the floor is yours.
What was the flat fee you mentioned? I didn't see it.
$80,000 for the benefits.
For the workers' comp?
$80,000 for the workers' comp as well.
So you're saying $80,000 for the health insurance and an additional $80,000 for the workers' comp. Well, $160,000 is your annual flat fee?
That's correct.
The second question I had was, when you determine that fee, did you have a chance to look at our workers' comp claim history, or did you just make that fee based on what?
Evan, can you answer that question?
So no, sir, we did not have any claims history. What we did is we looked at the employee headcount, and we took basically average rates in that sector from some carriers that we spoke with. We don't have all the payroll down to the dollar broken out by class code. And so we're trying to use an estimate that we believe would be competitive in the marketplace based on the total employee headcount and population.
Any other questions?
Well, I have a follow-up question then. So in the case of the benefits program, the medical benefits program, the $80,000 flat fee covers the administrative services provided by NFP. The actual cost, medical cost of the program, is determined by what the best deal they can work out for us with the carriers that are chosen. Now, in the case of workers' compensation, and now I'm a little confused. Evan, are you with NFP or are you with the workers' compensation service?
I'm with NFP. So we would function as a broker out to multiple workers' compensation carriers, just like Tammy and her team would market out to multiple medical carriers.
Okay, and so so you have a staff reporting to you in NFP that does the equivalent function of what Tammy's staff would do, let's say. I don't know whether you're a staff or not, Tammy, but you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yes, it's exactly right.
Okay, so just like we don't know the cost of the medical program, we don't know the cost of the workers' compensation program. All we know is your administrative fee for it.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that help, Councilman Gay?
It helps, but now I'm a little confused because last year on council, I was told that our premium would not go up regardless of our exposure if we kept the Kaiser HMO. So based on what they're saying is, they're broken this out. They're going out to the marketplace, but they themselves don't know what our cost is going to be. So we're doing what's called blind selection because we don't know. We could essentially be paying more.
Well, what I can tell you is that we know currently there's over $200,000 in commissions built into your fully insured premiums with Kaiser, which means your current broker consultant is receiving $200,000 in compensation on the benefits. We are quoting a flat fee of $80,000 for all benefits, So immediately you would see $120,000 in reduction by us removing those commissions from your premiums and charging the $80,000 flat fee. So even if everything else stayed the same, we're removing the $200,000 in commissions.
Or to put it another way, if our Kaiser, let's say you go with Kaiser, maybe you pick Kaiser. If our Kaiser expenses were to go up for the same, exactly the same situation that we have now, it could go up by $120,000 and we'd still be exactly where we were before financially.
And receiving the additional services that we're able to provide for the benefit administration.
Understand.
And you believe that you can provide all those services for $80,000.
Absolutely.
And you won't upsell the benefits. Employees won't pay the difference. You can provide all those benefits for $80,000.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll have all benefits with no commission. So there'll be no payment in premiums from the city or the employees.
And back to your workers' comp. At first I thought you were saying that you broker it out, but then you said you manage it in-house. So are you acting like a TPA, like a third-party administrator in-house, or are you brokering all of that out?
No, so that's a good question. I apologize if I confused you at all. So we will broker out the program to a carrier that's actually going to fund and provide all the, so just to break it down, we will go to a Travelers, a Hartford, or Liberty Mutual, an accident fund, and a Key Risk. We'll go to all those carriers with all your claims history, all your payroll. We'll find the most competitive program net of any commission because we're on a fee. So we're going to get paid the same thing regardless of who we choose. And then we're going to implement that carrier as your workers' compensation provider for College Park. And so once we do that, our job is then to manage that carrier to make sure that the adjusters have got a very proper claim count on their desk, that they're managing claims like we would expect them to be managed. So our job is to broker out the program, but then to manage the carrier after, it's not just to select them and then let them go and do their thing. It would be to manage that carrier once implemented.
So, but here again, we don't know that cost. So like we have a workers' comp carrier now, correct? And we know that cost, at least we know the previous cost, but right now, we can't control this cost tonight because we don't know what those, it's like you want to get locked in on the fees, but you can't control any of the costs of the third party. Is that fair to say? You don't know that cost, the workers' comp?
We have not marketed the program and we don't have proposals back from carriers. No, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I one question along that line is that's what we're selecting tonight, or we're selecting a broker, not a service provider, except in the touch interface with the employee, which leads me to the question on workers' compensation. To the extent that we interact with the employees, for example, I can't even give a good example. Maybe Ken could later, but the touch with the employee, is that done by bSwift as well? Is that included through your IT network, your IT capability, just as it is with employee benefits on the medical side? And I don't know how much the employee has to communicate with workers' compensation. So it's a very nebulous question. Can you help me out?
Yes, sir. So the only employees that would need to discuss anything about workers' compensation would be those that actually have a claim. So anybody that would get hurt while working would then file a workers' compensation claim. And our job, we would provide claims reporting instructions. I think there's 2 employees that were mentioned in the RFP that help manage the day-to-day workers' compensation program for College Park. We'd give them claim reporting instructions, and then we would act as a point of contact for that employee all the way through the claims adjudication process. Now, they may speak with an adjuster at a carrier, they may speak with a third-party administrator, but our job would be the single point of continuity for that employee.
So can we flesh that out a little bit? So let's say Joe Schmo gets injured and walks into HR. How should the process unfold if you were selected?
So that HR employee is going to have claim reporting instructions. They'll already have them where they can report directly to the carrier. Here's what happened on this day. It's an accident investigation form effectively. As soon as they hit submit, our claims managers are made aware of that claim, and they then file and log a claim into their diary, which is in our system. They would make contact with that workers' compensation adjuster generally within 12 to 24 hours after it's entered into their system and follow up with the employee directly. And then they would basically maintain contact with the adjuster and with that employee all the way through the claims adjudication process. So if it's a simple slip, trip, and fall, they'd make sure that they knew which urgent care to go to, how to file it, the information that we would then take and process with the workers' compensation carrier. If there were multiple medical visits, if the injury lasts longer than 7 days, then they get paid lost wages. We make sure that their wages are reimbursed from the carrier to the employee, that they've received those wages. So that our claims managers act as the intermediary so that the employee's not having to talk to 10 different adjusters to make sure they're getting their benefits.
Let me piggyback on the mayor. I didn't quite understand. The employee walks into HR and talks to an HR person, one of Dwight's people. Is that what you said?
I think they would have to start there, right?
I think they have to start there and then go.
Okay, so
I think that person would be the one. The person in HR would be the one to fill out the initial
submitting the claim.
So later on, I'm trying to get back to the employee. They don't sit down at a computer and enter anything in to communicate, and they don't have to fill out any forms. It's all done for them by either our HR guy or your staff person, Evan.
Correct.
I think they've got to come through HR first. And if they were to go to Evan first, Evan needs to make sure he comes to Dr. Baker to make sure that we're aware and of what's going on.
Right. And that makes sense, which is a different process than what it is for the other benefits management, the medical benefits, an entirely different situation. So I would expect that Dwight would have more staff focused on workers' compensation, all things being equal, than he would have on benefits. And he's nodding. Okay.
I have another quick question.
Okay.
Anybody can answer this question. We're talking about costs, and two concerns that at least I thought was: one, employees wanted a choice. They didn't want the HMO with Kaiser. They wanted a choice, but it wasn't necessarily anyone not satisfied with the broker. My question is this: what are we prepared to pay more money if they can't negotiate a price that we're all, say they come right back with Kaiser. Say after they shop out, they're gonna come back and recommend Kaiser. We're not large enough to have multiple carriers. They say that to us, but their cost is higher because they don't have that much in their marketplace. Are we prepared to pay more money than we're paying now and still be with Kaiser?
I think that's a question more for city council. I guess I can tell you where I'm coming from. I don't think the city can afford to take on any more cost for the overall benefits program. That's where I am right now. So if we come out of this stay with Kaiser, let's say, and Kaiser costs us a bunch more money, I don't see it coming out of the city coffers. I think the employees will have to bear the benefit of that. So if the employees want more choice options, and that causes us to get a more expensive overall cost to the city, I think that cost is going to have to be pushed to the employees. And I'm only one vote, so I don't know how that's going to go.
And let me just input on, the Kaiser piece, that with the leverage we have in the marketplace, the size that NFP is, 65,000 corporate clients nationally, the cost with Kaiser is not going to be more with NFP than it is with your current consultant. And as I mentioned before, actually by removing those commissions, you get immediate savings in your billed premium. So it's definitely not going to be more based off of your choice if you selected NFP.
Well, then maybe we can give the employees more benefits for that 120,000.
So which municipalities do you currently serve that's on those slides?
All of them.
Do you serve other businesses as well as municipalities, or just strictly municipalities?
We do have some private industry business as well, but the majority of our business is with city and county governments and public school systems.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
You just real quick, you said your employee service center. Where would that be located? And
it's in Marietta.
Oh, okay. I thought I read that earlier. I just was trying to refresh myself on that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. They are all local employees.
Starkey?
I guess I thought of one other question, Mayor. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll ask mine after you.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. bSwift, the software that you're using, we have integrated in other areas of the city software with other systems, trying to integrate our software with other systems. And this is Michael Hicks. I saw his area light up on the screen. Have you interfaced bSwift with all the other systems, with all the systems that we might have to interface with in ours? And I don't know, that's a very nebulous question, but I can't believe that there aren't some payroll deductions or what have you that area would need to interface in, I would think, with bSwift. So have you already integrated with those manufacturers of that software such that we don't have to go through a painful software integration process?
So I believe you all currently use New World Tyler Technologies. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
Yes, we have integrated with New World Tyler Technologies. I believe Macon Bibb is utilizing that system. And then we have another county government that's integrated as well.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mayor, thank you.
Oh, no. Ms. Starkey, I just wanted to flesh out the one-on-one support for employees. What would that look like? What has that looked like in the last year or so in the COVID environment? And what is, if someone needs that level of assistance, what's the expected time wait on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, before COVID, it was one-on-one on site. We're going to each department, making ourselves available at certain times for employees or letting the employees set an appointment, especially during open enrollment. That's most often when they need that counseling session, or as a new hire to come on site for new hire orientation to educate them and enroll them in their benefits. Over the last year with COVID, we have shifted that mainly to a virtual environment where we have utilized either Zoom sessions where an employee will schedule a session with an enrollment counselor at a time that's convenient to them. We understand that we need a lot of variation in the availability of that time, that we need early morning, we need nights to accommodate each shift. Or they're able to have a telephonic session. So if maybe they aren't comfortable getting on video, they can have a telephonic session, and then even they can contact our service center. We had many employees, maybe they didn't make an appointment, but they need that immediate assistance, contact the service center as a new hire or open enrollment for the same level of consultation and selecting their benefits.
Okay, let me follow up on that. In regard to that process for employees, do you measure the level of satisfaction that employees have with their interactions with NFP? And can you share any of that information with us?
So we have conducted post open enrollment surveys for our clients, specifically Columbus, Georgia. We did this year where we surveyed them on, the educational materials that were provided. Were they helpful? Was it printed materials? Was it videos? The enrollment session, their experience on bSwift, or their experience contacting our service center. So we would definitely be able to provide that level of review of your employees, of what their experience is during open enrollment and throughout the year with our team.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm good.
I think I'm good right now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I just had a quick one. Of those cities, which one is closer to our size?
City of Douglasville is very similar in size.
Okay, thank you.
And likely Monroe County as well.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Ms. Miller, are there any other issues to discuss in the workshop session?
No, ma'am, that's it.
All right, then we will resume at 7:30 for the regular meeting. I'll see everybody in a half hour. Thank you.
Thank you.